Because I miss my cat.
Hello everyone, my name is Albert and we're back with another episode of All Strings Attached. All Strings Attached is the content series where we explore the positivity of travel and also the wonder that it brings to us. So we all know that it's been about 4 or 5 months since our travel plans got cancelled, postponed, and we're left in this very blurry state of travel. We don't know when we can actually take to the skies again. But it's fine. The beauty of travel is not just in the actual process of experiencing our holiday. It also comes from the fond memories that we collect. So speaking of coming back home, we have a very special guest today. She wears multiple hats. She's a media personality, she's an investor, an entrepreneur, and also a self-proclaimed crazy cat lady. But more importantly, she's a fellow Singaporean. We would like to welcome Sharon Au back. Hello Sharon, how are you doing?
Bonjour! Hello, Singapore!
Bonjour! Oh, you're all prepared with the Singapore flag just in time for National Day. Thank you so much for making time off your schedule. I know that it's a little time for you to recuperate back at home, spend time with your family and also enjoy the local cuisines.
Exactly. See, I came back to vote, do my part as a Singaporean.
All prepared already. You're all prepared.
And then after voting, I was under quarantine for 14 days, and then now I'm finally out, and I'm very focused on pursuing to conquer all the local hawker centres that I've missed, especially Red Hill Market.
What's your favourite dish over there?
Green bean soup.
That's a very. I was thinking like 𝐤𝐷𝐾 or Hokkien mee.
No, they're good for
good
for so many local cuisine, but the green bean soup there is it just brings back memories of my childhood.
And this is the thing, like talking about hawkers, right, and wet markets and stuff. I go to wet market every Sunday, and I feel like the energy and the bustling vibes are slowly coming back. More people are I guess going out and in this new normal, and it feels good because it just feels like the community is coming back into place. And you know how COVID is not just a biological pandemic, it's also a psychological one. So mental wellness, I think in this time is ever much more important. And seeing people coming together again makes me feel good. It's so much brighter, in the sense when circuit breaker first started, and almost everywhere you go you'll be empty, and it feels like there isn't any more soul. But it's nice to see the energy coming back. So I just want to find out from you, and also for the viewers as well, during this tough times, how do you actually keep yourself motivated as you embrace negativity and ride along the days?
I actually took the whole confinement period in my own stride, and I worked it to my advantage. I realized that I'm someone who really enjoy working from home. I can spend much more time with my cat, and I don't have to spend so much unnecessary time dressing up, because working from home actually to me increased my productivity. But because now we are like having Zoom meetings, so everything is sort of short and sweet.
Yeah.
So much more productive.
I think we adapt to the situation that presents us. But I'm sure there are definitely times where you feel down as well. But how do you actually pick yourself up, especially when you're so far away from home? Like family and friends. It must be difficult. So I just want to hear some tips that you use to motivate yourself.
Okay, the low energy arises when I watch the news, because that's when you get connected to, for example, really bad news every day. In France, for example, the number of confirmed cases are by tens of thousands. The lack of hospital beds in certain regions in France. When you consume news on a daily basis like that, it affects your energy.
And that's definitely not easy, and I'm sure your travel plans as well. You probably had some travel plans to unwind. I'm sure that got cancelled. Were you planning to go anywhere?
Yeah, the road trips that I was going to make to the vineyards and to the olive groves. But then, at this point when something when we're facing a health crisis, so the last thing on your mind is actually your own vacation and enjoyment.
And I somehow feel like, you know, with the news that's happening, obviously the whole perspective of travel has taken a hit. You know, something that used to mean excitement, that used to bring a lot of anticipation, is now kind of like a taboo word, you know, when you talk about travel. And it's so nice to have you on the show to you know, find out more about, like, what is travel? What does travel mean to you?
Now that people can't travel, and now that there's several restrictions implemented, you see, we have gone on to reading travel books. We've gone on to consuming lots and lots of travel logs, reality travel shows. Just last night, I was watching on Netflix a Korean reality show where two celebrities went out and conquered Asia. You know? And the day when we finally step out and explore the world again, we would see that the world is going to present itself in a different light.
We're definitely not going to take it for granted anymore, you know.
Yeah.
Every holiday, we're going to dedicate time with, whether it's on a solo trip or with our loved ones. And I think people's mindset of travel will change, don't you think, as well?
Yes, and the other thing that I thanked God that I did a lot of that was to take lots of pictures. But now, over the past 4 months, 5 months, what have we been doing when we're feeling low? I looked through the photos over the years. At that point, I was so glad I took a million photos.
It makes you feel good inside, right? It makes you smile inside.
Yes, and that moment is forever frozen. You can always go back and revisit that particular instant where you felt extraordinary joy.
So, Sharon, you mentioned like one of your fond travel memories is actually when you went to the Amazon, and that was a totally, obviously, different experience from, you know, a typical travel or a typical holiday. Could you share more about that?
Indeed, that was my most unforgettable travel trips that I've ever done in my life. It was overwhelming in the beginning because we had to shed all our preconceived ideas of traveling and its luxury. So we camped out in the forest, and then in the night we would go explore and look at, for example, very big spiders, huge pythons. I mean, of course, these are all guided tours. And then in the day, we would go and fish for piranhas. But what I really loved from that trip was the opportunity to interact with real tribal troops who are living in the Amazon. So back to the magic of travel, it makes you grow up. It makes you grow up and sober up as a person.
So if we bring it back a bit closer to you, you currently reside in Paris, obviously, and back in Singapore for a while. What made you decide on the shift to Paris?
I had the first-hand experience of what a huge difference a city is when you are a tourist compared to when you are residing there, for example. I always picked countries where I need to relearn the language so that I would, you know, jolt myself out of my comfort zone and just be a child again.
Do you reckon that that's something that travel taught you in your much earlier experiences? Like, you know, for example, obviously we went to the Amazon, that kind of instilled you with that hunger to learn.
Yeah.
A bit of spontaneity, and maybe similarly from other trips as well. And then somehow when you decide that, okay, Paris is going to be my next little spot, those were the factors that contributed to it, I guess.
When I was considering which place to move to, I thought, why don't I move to a French-speaking country where I can pick up again, you know, and not lose the language, because it was so difficult to be proficient in French.
But I want to learn, and I'm sure the viewers as well, when we get to travel again, they want to learn a lot more about the hidden gems. Is there one or two that you can share with us? And, you know, you can just pop it on the String Travel app as well, and people can kind of gain access to it. And maybe now you can just share one or two.
For example, you know, there are many passages. So they are all galleries. Sometimes they are train stations, abandoned. So, and they are long and just historical and beautiful. So in Paris, there are many of such passages. They are lined with antique shops, bookshops, and also quirky cafes. You're faced with surprises and history. So
and how do you find out about these places? Like
because you explore, because you roam by yourself, not following a guide or a GPS. So have you ever wondered why sometimes when we come to a crossroad, your friends would pick this particular direction and your legs just cannot control, you will go there, and then you guys will be like, you know. But yeah, so usually you compromise, right? So my advice, actually, my little travel tips is actually don't compromise, because chances are that because your whole body and soul is trying to tell you something that is going to surprise
that
you
you need
ahead.
to see. Talking about art, I think off the air as well, like Sharon, you mentioned about this place not in Paris, but like an hour drive.
Yeah, yeah.
Where
south of France.
South of France, right?
Yeah.
And you mentioned there's this like a mental institution that is still preserved, that holds the story behind Vincent van Gogh. You want to share a bit more about that?
The actual name, right, is an asylum. The St. Paul's Asylum, which Vincent van Gogh spent his last remaining days just before he committed suicide. That to me is another place which had recently triggered a lot of emotions and reflections of life. It was like a self-discovery and a recovery place. Sometimes we should not leave our place of sanctuary if we have found it.
Bear in mind, obviously when we actually get to travel again, things will change so much. Like even going for a check-in now, it's no longer 2 hours, it's going to be 4 hours. We probably have to wear our mask throughout. So any advice for people who have that insatiable hunger to travel now?
I'll say, just in the meantime, make full use of this time, perhaps, to read about the countries that you want to conquer after the lifting of the travel ban. You can moan and complain, but don't overdo it. After some time, just move on, and then just constructively make use of this time that you are so-called trapped at home to do more research, to read up, and to share. And also, maybe I would like to encourage people to, maybe don't keep going back to the same destination. I know it's very comfortable, and we have a strong inclination to revisit places. To me, looking forward to something is part of the travel. Travel doesn't start when the plane lands in the city and you come out. Traveling starts when you start planning already. In Singapore, for example, we plan with paper and pen and real books, or we would go into travel cafes and just hang there the whole day because we want to do our homework. So that to me was the whole joy actually of traveling.
And then that completes the entire process. It's holistic. And like if you look at the current days, we want information fast because based on the current level of technology, and we're so used to everything to be fast. And when it comes to travel planning, I always say that there's no way that you can cut down your travel planning to 10 minutes. You got to put in the effort.
So don't undervalue every step and every process. Just enjoy the whole moment and the whole ups and downs. There will be a lot of hiccups. You will get lost. You get jet lag, and things don't happen your way all the time. We get wiser with each trip. Like for example, my very big tip for traveling in Paris is don't carry your branded bags.
So, Sharon, once travel opens up again, which city would be your next place of interest?
Argentina!
Argentina?
Why? Because yesterday I just saw a travel show, street food, introducing all the famous street food in Argentina, and I just love their passion, their energy.
Does Sharon Au have like travel essentials that you bring along, like you cannot leave behind? I think in local context that is what you would call a 𝐤𝐸𝐶.
So Winnie the Pooh has been with me since 2008. The truth is, it's because of my health issue. It's because I have asthma, so I always need Winnie to be my cushion for my Breathe Easy oil, and then I can breathe again.
So bye, Sharon.
Bonne nuit.
Okay, so Winnie is one of your travel essentials. What's two more of your travel items that you can't live without.
Oh, so Winnie and my Breathe Easy oil.
Oh, okay, so that's two.
Okay, okay. The third
one.
thing, of course, I always travel with books. Yeah, because you need to cater for downtime. So, reading materials, Breathe Easy oil, and a cushion.
And I think, well, Sharon, I think we have taken so much of your time, and you have shared with us so much. Before we maybe close off and loop up the session, is there anything that you want to say to your family and friends here in Singapore? You're back now.
Okay, this is what I want to really share. We live in this period of time where it's very uncertain. So I just want to share that this is the time where you need to connect with people. So use whatever means, okay? By Google Hangout or by texting, FaceTime.
Simple phone call.
This is the time where you can gather chat groups and plan for the next adventure. Join me in Argentina, for example. And then download the String app and just start inputting and share all the bright ideas. Because actually, this is a very a thought of mine, which was I always share what I do, but I need to always reply individually to different messages of, like, for example, which places, which restaurants to visit and which are the nice cafes.
Thank you for mentioning that, and I hope that String can be that pillar of empowerment to remind people that travel has changed, but not as magic. I've said it many, many times. Sharon, thank you so much.
Thank you.
You are the best, you're the sweetest ever. It's nice to have you back home. I hope you enjoy your stay, spend a great amount of quality time with your family. Keep well, keep safe. I know your birthday is coming. So take care, and Sharon, I'll catch you soon in person.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
So there we go, we've come to the end of another episode of All Strings Attached. So many travel recommendations and learnings from Sharon. You can also understand how travel adventures can become inspiring stories for others. So if you're interested in telling your travel story, if you're interested in sharing a recommendation, do download the String Travel app. It's available on both the App Store and the Google Play Store. Have a go, be part of this community where we are a bunch of like-minded travelers and we want to celebrate the positivity of travel. So take care, be safe, and spread love.
Don't cry for me, Argentina.